Hi, colleagues. My name is Mickey Mitrick. I'm here to talk about students who identify as multilingual at Walter State. Um, we have different vocabulary sets I want to familiarize you with. One is ESOL, English as a Second or Other Language, and that's kind of my office in that program of reaching out to these students who speak English as a second language, or many times these are multilingual students, so they may speak other languages. So English may not be their second language, it could be like their third or fourth. So that's where the O comes in, for those unfamiliar with that term. ELL is the English language learners. So we have ESOL students who speak English better than you or me. Then we have on the other range students who are still struggling to learn aspects of English. It could be vocabulary words that they're not familiar with. It could be that they're unconfident in, or they've never had grammar study in their formation, and so this is unfamiliar to them. Or it could be very cultural, so any culture-bound things like I showed a Ukrainian student a photo from a U.S. history book. I was like, do you know who this is? She says, I have no idea. So it's an image of Abraham Lincoln. So it could be a cultural gap of knowledge of U.S. culture. So I prefer to use the term multilingual when I talk about students who speak more than one language, because there's just various iterations of along this spectrum of language proficiency. How do we identify these students? When students apply to Walter State, there is an application that they all fill out, every student. One of the questions on the application is this: is English your native language? If it is, then they go with the general population. If they say no, English is not my native language, then I gather them through our system of pulling students. And it's like a little tag that we put on there. It's only for internal use. So the increase in enrollment in these students has been trending up since I've been in the role since 2014. You can just see a snippet of data from 2017 to 2024. Here, fall, we had about 125, and then if we look at fall of 2023, it was at 250. For this current semester of spring 2025, when I'm making this video, we're at 223. So usually you can see spring semesters are a little bit lower. Generally speaking, our multilingual students do quite well when compared to non-ELL students. So our fall to spring retention rates for multilingual students is high. We're looking at 90, 91, 77, 80, and I don't have the rest of the data filled in. But if you look at the general population, it hovers kind of around 72 to 78, so about 75. Fall to fall retention, also high for the multilingual students, 64 to 73, and it's all under 60 for the general population. And the graduation rate tends to be high for these students, 33 to 40, and 31 to 36. Nevertheless, although they're doing well, the students do need some extra support. In some cases, for many years, we had the READA program, and that served as a mentoring program. It was highly valued by the students. That came out of my office. Now we're down to working with students in our traditional way. So we have different college supports, which is like a community English class list over here. Students aren't quite ready for college and they just want to learn English. A community class might be their best fit. So we have this sheet available, and I'll make sure you guys, if you want it, can have a copy of it to distribute. Our college doesn't have the capacity to have a full-on English language acquisition program, but Pellissippi has one, and they're in an urban setting, and it's still hard to get enough students in there, enough of a head count. And so what we have agreed to do as a college through committee is to focus on a module that exists within 3 English classes: Read, English 1010, and English 1020, that students can access. So we had an external review of that module performed a year ago, spring 2024, by a colleague at Nashville State. just some suggestions on what we could add and improve, and some kudos on some great work that we've done here at the college. And so what we intend to do is during this next year, academic year, is do an internal module review, and try to gather thoughts from students and from our faculty, and figure out what is the best direction to take this module. My week to week, in addition to supporting these other efforts with our multilingual students, is to perform secondary faculty feedback. So I get a report each Monday of ESOL students who may be struggling in their classes, and I'll do another outreach either through their senator's email or sometimes phone calls. Some of the students reach back, and some of the students, it's harder to gather them in. But I also collaborate with International Club on student bonding activities, and so we had one at the beginning of this semester, right before classes started, to have social time, but also to develop English skills. It was fun. There is some tutoring that takes place out of my office. And so then that tutoring can be through Teams. It can be with students who come in and they just want English conversation practice. So this has taken on a variety of forms. If you have a student who is in need of support, know that I'm working the back end. If there's someone that you want to bring directly to my attention, feel free to reach out. You can email me is the best way, mickey.mitrick@ws.edu. I have students who I have regular appointments with because their professors have, helped bridge that relationship with me. So thanks for your time, and thanks for what you do for our students.